Outdoors isn't just a place, it's a lifestyle. Experience the action and unforgettable stories with Silver Kings, Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern on Waypoint TV, wherever adventure takes you. Waypoint TV, your destination for outdoor entertainment.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles Podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. The first podcast of 2026. So this podcast, Nate Rozeveld and I are kind of talking about kind of what's going on here in 2026. We got some changes coming up. Nate's going to do some co-hosting with me a little bit. We're doing some more stuff. We don't get into much of like the Roam stuff with the video, but Nate is kind of rebranding his podcast into the Roam podcast with lots to come on that. So he gets into that a little bit towards the end. ATA is this week. So if anybody's headed down there, hit me up. Me and a few of the guys are headed down there for the weekend. And if you haven't heard or you're not aware, it is open to the public Friday and Saturday. It's like $30 for one day or $50 for the weekend. And it has the Rushmore Rumble going on. So that's the NFAA shoot going on. So I'm really excited to see that along with some of the other stuff. But Nate and I talk about some bows. I did pick up a new Darton. It's actually one of last year's flagship models. Talk about getting that set up and, just kind of things gone through over the season, things that we liked as far as like our setups and things we're looking forward to, kind of like what can change as far as things for like the industry. We talk about ATA every year about like what can change, how much can people change gear, things like that. Latitude's got some new sticks coming out, a couple of new packs. Last year it was tethered saw. So like what stuff we're looking forward to seeing, that sort of stuff. So all of that. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles Podcast. Today, we got Mr. Nate Rozeveld on here, and I said there's a lot of changes coming for 2026. You're probably going to be seeing a bunch of Nate. He's going to come on here, do some co-hosting. And then with his podcast, we've got lots and lots of changes. But we were just on the Habitat podcast together, and Nate actually listened back to it. He said it was pretty funny. It was fun to do. Those guys are always fun. But on there, they asked like what was our like favorite drink or drink of choice. I don't know what they were going for, but I said any energy drink. And so one of my buddies, Mark, he was supposed to hunt in Kansas with us, but he said like years ago, like he listens to a couple podcasts and they always like say, this is what we're drinking today. It's an IPA or blah, 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 blah. So today I have a Celsius sparkling cherry cola. I've never seen this one before. So I actually bought this one while I was at Costco just for this. I bought this bulk pack. So if they're trash, it's going to be terrible, but we're going to give that one a try. And this is one thing also. We're headed to ATA here this week. Nate's going to be coaching indoor soccer, so he's not headed down there. But I feel like Nate is like Randy Quaid's character from Kingpin. Like, my body's a temple. Like, I only can have like 12 milligrams of caffeine and nothing else. I have to be like so.
Dude,
super boring.
If I cracked open a Celsius right now, I'd be up. Oh, I wouldn't even sleep. Like I cannot handle the caffeine like you guys do.
Oh,
but when I need to pull an all-nighter, I can pretty easy because I'm not used to that much caffeine. So that might be my secret, and that's why I have the Yeti filled with ice water right now. Because if I drink caffeine, I'm not going to bed tonight.
Body's a temple.
My body's
the funniest
temple.
part about that, when we were in ATA last year, he he's eating like chocolate covered espresso beans, and he's just like gobbling them down. He's like, "Is there caffeine in these?"
Yeah.
yeah, lots of it.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was wild. I think ATA was that was a little different because we were on concrete like all day, so like we were just walking around here trying to like absorb a lot, and we had like a mission kind of, and we would, you'd finally get done doing that. It's like, all right, let's go get something to eat and a couple drinks, and then you start talking hunting stories and kind of hang out with each other after. What was real crazy was how we were just going pretty hard at tack like that. You warned me about you guys. You guys do pretty good. Like little bit of sleep, a lot of walking, and I was. Usually I'm the guy that's like, let's go, all hyped up. But I've never seen a guy try to hold on for dear life like Joe was when he was literally having conversations with us with his eyes closed. It's pretty funny.
At TAC, were you there the first night?
No, I showed up late, remember, because I got there so late, and there was just like a truck full of beer cans, and like you guys were just like going hard. And Jake woke up the next morning. I think Jake was sleeping when I got there, and when we woke up to go shoot, he looked like he'd been flashbanged, and he was squinting because the sun was so bright. And you guys started out strong, but hey, we made it through.
Funny you talk about the ATA from last year, like how just like the events or whatever. I was just telling my wife, like, so it was Nate, John, Brad, and myself, and we can go find an animal anywhere on public land with a map, but we could not get out of this building to save our lives. We were staying in this like condo, old converted hotel or something, and we could not get out of this
What
building.
I heard was, we go to this floor, it's a shortcut. And I was like, okay. And the next thing I know, we're like locked in an area and like super close to being like literally stuck in this like old big building. And John opened a door and we got through and we were happy, but we were going outdoors that you could only go one way. It was pretty crazy. We should have just walked outside in the cold.
Nailed shut.
Yeah,
it was
that's right. We went down the steps. We're like, oh, we can get through here. Nope, shut. They had her boarded off. That's crazy that was a year ago already.
Right,
time just flying by.
So you're bailing on us.
I know. I got to coach. Well, this is the thing. Indoor soccer. My little guy likes soccer. He played soccer in the spring. He played football in the fall. And then, like, let's do a winter sport. And his cousin's a pretty good soccer player. And they're like, we need more coaches. We don't have any. This is how it always happens. We need coaches, and you're, like, really good with the kids. And they like playing with you because you're, teaching them the fundamentals, blah, blah, blah. And I get suckered in. I say, okay, I'll do it. And I say yes to it and don't even think about ATA or any of this other stuff. And it's like, cool. I literally have certain off weeks, but of course the off week's not on ATA week. It's theirs. But we had our first game, and I have just a hodgepodge of kids, right? Like, I got 3/4 of the team have never played indoor soccer. Half the kids never even played soccer. We have like 2 kids that actually probably have 1 kid that's really good. The rest are just like, let's have fun. And we go, our first team game is against it's all 10U stuff, so under the age of 10. It's a team full of girls, and they have like, I think you have 14 players total. I think they might have had 16. They had 2 full teams worth of kids, and we did pretty good. We hung with them, and then when the kiddos got tired, the girls came through and knew how to pass and do all that stuff, and they ended up beating us. So it's been kind of fun to razz my little man and the cousin, like, hey, you guys need to pick this up. This is serious. Like, you got to do the fundamentals of soccer. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what you may think or do. If you can't play the game of soccer, you're going to lose. So it was pretty fun to see that. But I had this little kid. Sorry to go on a tangent. This kid, he was our safety in football. It was his first year playing tackle football, and he played safety. And I loved coaching him. He just was the small kid in the field, not scared of anything. Like, he was our last resort, and he was always in the position to make a tackle. Sometimes he's just so small he couldn't make the tackle. So I reached out to some of the parents and said, hey, I'm doing indoor soccer, and then like, yeah, he'll play. He's never played before. He plays at recess. I'm like, he's gonna have no problem playing soccer because he's fearless. Dude, this little dude, it made like coaching kids and seeing a kid like that run around, not know how to play soccer, but not care. Big smile on his face. He was playing defense like his feet were on fire. It was awesome. So I am missing ATA, but I do get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing kids have fun and run around. And who knows what they'll become one day, but it does make me smile. And our first game was at like 7:00 in the morning, so like I had to wake up early on a Saturday, and but it's fun. So this is a shout out to all the dads out there who do some coaching and miss out on some other things, but it's worth it. Brownie points, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I coached the Bad News Bears soccer also, so it was not awesome. We were not good, but yeah, I kind of feel bad because that was like your first time at ATA, and it was like the show was. I would say it's probably was at its lowest last year, like very close to it. And this year with a new format, so like actually the ATA show will start. This is going to air on Wednesday, so the show will be opening on Wednesday, and we're not going down until Friday, which is actually the archery and bow hunting super show. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday and you're like, oh, I didn't know that ATA was open to the public, Friday and Saturday you can go down there. I think it's like $30 to get in, or $50 for the weekend, and it is the Rushmore Rumble NFAA. I think it's like the first shoot of the year, and it all makes sense now to me. I don't follow like target archery, tournament archery, or anything like that. Like a little bit, I'll hear John talk about it, but one of our guys from the club is actually going down, and he's going to be shooting there, and it's usually in South Dakota, hence the Rushmore Rumble. I think that makes sense why it would be in South Dakota. But they've moved it to Indianapolis to go right along with the ATA show. So the vendors are going to stay set up, and you're going to be able to walk the floor as a consumer. And I don't know if they're going to be selling stuff or whatever, but you're going to be able to go there. You're going to be able to see the shoot. So I'm quite excited to see, like, the new format, to be able to see, them shooting and see, are there, in years past, like the first year that we went to ATA, which I think was 2018, I think. These are 17 or 18, but I think it was 18. Like, I'd never seen... I knew nothing about, like, target archery or, like, these, ASA, any of the spot shooting, Vegas, any of that stuff. In, like, we were at that was when Matthews was still there. Matthews' booth is there, and John's eyes are, like, so big, and I think that was one of the first years where Matthews had like first came out with the modules, and they're swapping out all the modules for shooting bows. And John's like, that's Jesse Broadwater just switching out modules, And then we're over, I think we were at Bowtech, and he's like, that's real wild. Like, he's just like, he's like, this is nuts. Like, these guys are there. And now, so to be able to go and like maybe see these guys actually shoot and see like kind of what it's all about. And if you've watched any of that stuff, to kind of see like maybe see Greg Poole running around and kind of interviewing people and doing all that stuff like while they're shooting and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see that. So I feel like you kind of got like the raw deal on like how it goes. And I was looking, like before you got on here, I was kind of looking to see like who's going to be there, and like it looks almost like there's going to be. I feel like there's actually almost like different booths there because of maybe the format has changed a little bit.
Yeah, you had told me like what ATA was like, and riding down with you and John, like getting kind of the scoop. Because I was like, I have no idea what we're getting into. I just know that we're here to try to help out the benefit at the Bowman's Club and see if we get some donations for that. So I talked to a lot of companies there. Like, I was just like, if anything piqued my interest, I went and talked to them, and I kind of knew some people just through knowing a little bit what I knew and talked to them and was trying to get a feel for them. And they're like, oh, my first ATA, and I think it was destined to change. Like the hunting space kind of landscape is changing the last couple years, and talking to some of those owners or the reps for those companies, I think a lot of those companies I didn't even realize were all owned by the same entity, right? Like I had no idea all that stuff was lumped into one thing. So I think that kind of, takes away a little bit from trade shows because they are so big. They already have all their stuff figured out for distributing to local shops or Tractor Supplies or Cabela's and Shields, whatever they're trying to do to get orders placed. And it was kind of cool to see some of the smaller guys there. Like there was some companies that were trying to get their name out there. But I do think that you could sense it. Like these people were like, yeah, this is not what it's been. Some of those guys were kind of disappointed or a little upset because they're told one thing and what they get there, it's a little different. So I think ATA is making the right move to try to do something different and to open up to the public. I think is a great idea because I have never seen that many, and it was a down year, right? Like the amount of stuff I saw in one building was like, wow, I've never had the opportunity to see this much stuff. And maybe you do get to see some people you never get to see before. I mean, we saw the guy Carter releases, right? Like that was kind of cool. I mean, I had no idea what was going on, but you guys all of a sudden just left me hanging with a hinge in my hand. And I'm like, how do you make this thing go off? And I'm like looking around like, you guys are gone, but you got to see him. So, I mean, there is some pretty cool opportunities to see that kind of stuff at a place like that.
Well, and that's the thing is like the first couple of years, like they let anybody with a YouTube channel or whatever in, and it was like bustling, but nobody could get through and these guys are trying to make deals. They're trying to like buy for their year and all that stuff, and here's all these idiots like us just wandering around, trying to talk to Jerry Carter.
Like, we're not buying any releases, but we want to talk to Jerry Carter.
yeah, that sort of stuff. So there's that something had to change that way too, but it just went between that and COVID, direct to consumer, lots of things had changed in that time period. So for them to stay viable, like I'm excited to see this. And so looking like through there, I'm like I was telling Nate prior to this, like I was looking to see like what bow companies are going to be there, because a lot of the bow companies don't show up, and like even fewer than like what we expected. Because last year Bowtech was there. Bowtech is releasing their new bow this week, which I assumed would have been at ATA, but looking at the map, it doesn't look like they're even going to be there. So it looks like there's just going to be Bear, Darton, Obsession, and Martin in Expedition. And so that's interesting, to say the least. I guess PSC is going to be there as well. From what I just can remember, but like that, I don't think Hoyt was going to be there. So and Matthews definitely isn't going to be there. They haven't been there in a while. So it'll be interesting, but you're going to be able to see the shooters, because some of the shooters are going to be there shooting spots and doing that. So that it's going to be interesting. But as far as like new products and stuff, like I've already, Latitude, they sent out that email and it said they got a new stick coming out, and they got a frame pack and then like a minimalist pack. And I'm pretty sure I've seen the minimalist pack, at least the one that they were working on. So I'm curious to see like what the final version of that looks like, because it was pretty cool. So seeing all that new stuff that's kind of like relevant to us, and then there's so much. It's so hard because like there's so much stuff that's like new, but it doesn't necessarily like move the needle for me. Like the the newest $5,000 redneck blind. It's like, that's maybe more Nate's thing. He's like, God, I gotta get one of those.
I would love one of those. I could take 4 or 5 of those. Yeah.
But yes, like, so I don't know. I'm excited to see that. Is there anything like, so let's kind of transition that to like, so this year hunting, like what was, so when we were on that other podcast, Nate said camera gear, blah, blah, blah. Because that's what he was supposed to bring with him, but he's been dubbed No Camera Nate by the Rome crew.
I killed one deer without a camera
this
year. 1 of 8. Jeez. Can't give me.
1 of 8 deer?
I shot 8 deer this year, and only one of them's not on camera.
He drove all the way to Wyoming or somewhere.
Omaha.
Didn't get one like second video. Left all of his cameras there. And then he's just like, well, sorry, guys. Nothing.
I made up for it. But yes. Hey, when you're with your wife, it's a little different, right? Like it was me and her, and I was like, do you want to be on camera? She's like, absolutely not. And I'm like, okay. And do you want to run a camera? Yes. But then when we get there, no desire to carry a camera or doing that. I'm like, well, I don't even know how to really use this thing, so I don't blame you. So it was pretty easy to leave it in the truck. So I did leave it in the truck for sure. So I'm sorry. But I do have 2 bucks killed on camera. How many bucks do you have on camera this year, Adam?
1.
You do have 3 shots at them. So, I mean, I guess you are ahead of me on that.
I have 5 shots at bucks on camera.
You have 5 shots? Where's the other 2 coming from? Oh, yep, I remember. The kill shot and then the miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then the 3 misses at once. Okay, so you are leading. You got me beat by that.
Yeah. And we've now established, I don't know if we didn't talk about this on the podcast, maybe on the other one, but Nate cursed my bow. My bow was 100%. That bow had taken 1 shot at the animal. It killed it. And then I handed it off to Nate. He lobs this arrow, this Hail Mary at this deer. Misses it by a mile.
I told you the first time we met, Adam. So the first time me and Adam met in person was shooting bows. And he is trying to quickly sight this bow in before he goes to Colorado elk hunting. And the Zion's shooting great. And he's like, all right, you got to shoot this backup bow I got. And he's like, you're going to think you're going to like it. Kind of like I'm like, all right, Adam. I shoot this bear bow, which I will give it. It's an easy bow to pull back. You can hold it at full draw for, I don't know how long I had it at full draw the first time with you trying to find that. I'm like, the deer's right there, Adam. Why can't you film it? And I'm just sitting there, no big deal. But once you touch her off, she's a little slow, and it lobs the old arrow in there. So I haven't liked that bow from the first time I shot it, 2 summers ago. And you're like, I'm killing stuff with this bow. And I'm like, you're crazy. Like, I would never. But you smoked your bear with a bear, which is cool. And then, I took a shot at that button buck at 43 yards, and I just laughed because I hit right where I wanted to shoot, and he just turned out of the way. And I think, what was that? Like the first thing I said, like, man, this bow's slow.
Yeah.
And then, you like to launch arrows.
Then that cursed the bow forever. And
oh shoot! And now you have a new bow.
But anyway,
new to you bow.
Yes. Yeah. But so like when we're talking about gear.
Yeah.
Like this year going into the season, like for new gear, like what was the quote unquote game changer or like gear that like really made a difference for you this year?
Oh man. Excluding cameras, I think, because that's already been talked about. I was kind of thinking about this a little bit. I got the Ranger 22 backpack last year, like during the season. I can't remember when. I want to say it was like maybe tail end of October. I got it, or it might have been right before I went to Kansas. It was late in the year, and as soon as I got that pack, I was like, "Ooh, this is." I do like this better than I have a Mr. Ranch pop-up 28, or I think it's the 28 I have, which I like that pack a lot. Like, it's great, can handle a lot of weight. I've liked it for that, but then my world has been, like, changed with the Ranger 22. Like, what I've done to that pack since I got it, impossible to do that with the Mr. Ranch Pop-Up 28. Like, that pack has now just became my, get a deer out of the woods pack, essentially. Like, that's got knife, game bags. When we got the buck in Illinois with Rob, that pack was thrown on the back, and that's how we got the meat out, was with that and his. So the Ranger 22, what I really like about that is the options I have for like accessories and like hooking other stuff up to it with like pouches, and buying like the operator pouches and like the other, what do they call the normal pouch for that? Yeah, the operator and the Ranger pouches, I think maybe. Are they called just the Ranger?
Those little ones.
The little ones,
like
yeah.
The little zipper pouches.
Yeah, so I have a couple of those, and then the profile pocket. I put the profile pocket on the Ranger 22 for my platform, and then I have like an operator pouch hooked on that and a Ranger, so like I can put cameras and lenses and batteries and all that. Essentially, I just created like so much more options to put stuff, because I hate digging through my pack. Like, you stuff a camera in there and a lens and a mic and like all this stuff, and I'm trying to like pull this stuff out. Like, I didn't like it, and the Ranger 22 having those options has really streamlined that for me. And I think that I'm kind of excited to see what other packs they have, because I got some ideas in my head of what I would like to do, like either jump up to the Ranger 33 to do it or not. But that's been my favorite thing, was the I guess I could just say going all latitude, like with my sticks, platform, and saddle and the pack. Like last year I was doing kind of both, and then this year I ran everything, and all that stuff goes together really well. Like, I like it.
What was your system last year?
So I had for the longest time I had B sticks, the minis, with a 1-step aider on the first stick, and then I had 4 sticks total. And then I either had the tethered Predator platform I used for years. I think I bought that in 2018, and I used that until last year when I got the profile, because finally they came out with a platform that like was slim. Like, when it folded together, I was like, yep, you got me. Marketing got me on that one. I'll buy that. So I had the first gen. I pre-ordered it. So I don't think that came in until like either right before season or like early October I got it. So I had the B sticks, that platform, and the Mr. Ranch 28, and then, yeah, that's what I'd used. And then saddle-wise, the first saddle I ever used, and whatever year the Manus came out, it was either the first year it came out or the second year it came out, I got that as my first saddle. Maybe it was 2019 was when I got a saddle on, like, the platform. I used the Manus, and then I used the Phantom. Yeah, the Phantom was I used, and then I got at TAC, the first time I ever walked around at TAC, which had been like 3 years ago, I got the Method 2 I bought from Latitude, and then that was my first Latitude purchase, was that. And then I was using the Method 2 until this year when I got the Method 3. Oh, and then I got the carbon sticks too last year. So just being Latitude's local to me. So like, with Aaron Blicey and stuff, like he was doing a project at their warehouse, and I offered some help, and I was like, dude, I'm literally driving right by there. What do you need? And I picked up a bunch of material for him and helped him out a couple things, and I got a discount on some sticks, and that's when I bought the sticks. And I'm so happy that they did that for me, because I was like, I like my B sticks, like they're great, but using those carbon sticks, the Speed Series sticks have been, I was really happy with those. And yeah, so I'm a Latitude fanboy now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. Like first of all, like seeing those operator pouches at ATA last year, I was like, what the hell are these
both
things?
Were like, what? Like, yes. Like, that's, at first we're like, that's weird, but then we started thinking about it, and I was like, dude, and I got 2 of them, and they're cool.
Well, Nate can tell you, because he saw me find it, but the one thing that I would change about them is they need a bigger or like a better way to clip them shut. That little tiny way to secure it right tight up against you there.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they almost put that on the side, like all the way over on the edge, it wouldn't make one bit of difference because it would still close it. Like it doesn't need to be in the middle.
Correct.
And you would be able to access it, and it really wouldn't matter if you only clipped it on one side versus two, because it would still be shut.
Is that the larger one that you put your ropes in, or the smaller one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the larger one.
Yeah,
I think I have one of each.
Yeah, me too. So Adam's just talking about there's like a little buckle, like your normal buckle that goes. So that pouch has it's not spring loaded, but it kind of acts like it because of the banding in it. And it will close and stay closed kind of, but there's a buckle to really keep it closed. And that is a little, if it's on your side or something, it's kind of hard to get your fingers on it to buckle it. And then
if you don't flip it shut, if you just assume that it's closed, you could be walking through the woods and lose your tether.
Well, you walk so fast. You walk so fast through the woods. It doesn't surprise me you lose stuff. You just on a mission.
You're taller than me. You think that too?
So I walk fast. If I at work doing everything like that, I'm not a slow walker, but there's only two people I've ever been in the woods with before that I struggle to keep up with. It is you and Rob McIntyre. You two are made to walk the woods together because you walk so dang fast. I think it's because, I don't know, you guys are power walking. You're just I'm here to do it, and I'm kind of more of when I'm in the woods, I'm walking, but I'm oh, look over here, oh, look over there. You guys are just woof, mission going.
So I know, especially when we were in Idaho, John would be just leave me. He was and I was no, I'm not going to leave you.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to leave you. But when we were in Kansas, Joe was behind me. And it was sweaty and nasty, and I turned around and I was I'm sorry, I'm not just trying to leave you or be a dick, but I just want to be done. I want to be the faster that I can get back to the truck, the faster I'm done walking. And that's, but walking in the dark with a pack on, for anybody that's listening that's ever been in the military, most of us spend a lot of time doing that. So it's I don't need a light. I don't need anything. Just
here we go.
Point me in a direction, and there I will go. So
I liked it. I'm not complaining. Hey, we got to the tree quick and we made stuff happen. But yes, those back to the pouches, you do have to make sure them things are clipped if you don't want to lose your precious belongings.
But if you were to tell me at the beginning of the season that I would be praising a 2-panel saddle by the end of the year, I would have told you were crazy.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about this. So when I got the Method 3, I love the Method 2, but I always use the Method 2 together as a 1-panel. Because the way I'm a leaner, I don't put my knees against the tree. I just stand up the whole time. And I love the Method 2 because it was so small. I could slide that thing, down on my legs or on my butt or my back, wherever I wanted, depending on how the tree setup was. And I was this is the best. This is light years ahead of any saddle I've used. From the simplicity, it was the first saddle that I felt comfortable having the leg straps not attached. I always had to have the leg straps on my other saddles because they would ride up or I couldn't walk in with them. So I really like the Method 2. So I told someone, or maybe on my podcast, I was I'm going to use the Method 3 all year, and at the end of the year, I'm going to use the Method 2. When I went to Illinois and hunted with Rob, he didn't have a Latitude saddle, and I'm dude, I got 2 of them. You need to try this Method 3. I think you'd really like it. It's different than, I've been in 4 saddles now. I have the Maverick, so that'd be the 5th saddle. And it's different than all those by quite a bit. And I was I'm going to use the Method 2. You use the Method 3, and I'll have a really good comparison, right? I just got done hunting all year in the Method 3. The Method 3 is by far a better saddle than the Method 2, in my opinion. You have more, it's more comfortable. It's it's just different, completely different feel. If you had to hold a gun to my head and you say you got to pick one and you had to toss the other one in a fire, I would take the Method 3 or the Method 2. And at the beginning of the year, I would not have thought that would have been an option. I still like the Method 2. I still enjoyed sitting the Method 2 when I was hunting with him and filming with him, but it was definitely, you can't even, like, it's hard to, like, it's almost like you can't tell they're both two panels. Like, it just seems so, it's so unique in the way it's a two panel that I was finding myself just, multiple different positions being comfy. And I don't know, like the body of it, or I don't really know what the right word is, just how it conforms to you is different. You don't have, there's like pressure on your body, but it's not the same as like how the Method 2 or a Maverick or any of the other saddles I've had usually is.
Yeah, and like, so the reason that I was asking that is like to try to figure out like what, is going to be the new thing at this show. Like I said, the one pack that Latitude's coming out with, if it's the one that I think that it is going to be something completely different. That's pretty cool. There's only one pack that's out there, one pack setup that's kind of similar to it, that I've seen. Like I said, this is just the one that I saw, so it could be just, that could still be they're working on it, and this could be just a regular old duffel bag. I don't know. So that it sounds cool. I'm interested to see what their new stick is. I'd imagine that they have to come out with like some sort of aluminum stick. That would be my guess. And maybe it's a price point stick, although I don't think that their sticks are that expensive comparatively. I think everything is expensive to some degree. But like last year, that tethered saw was super cool. So that was the thing that was like really different. But I was talking to somebody else on one of the podcasts, and it was like, how far can we take this? Like, what's the next thing? You were talking about the beast sticks and whatnot, and like that's what I use to measure everything else against, like the Predator platform. That's what I measure everything else against. So, like, maybe I'm getting old, and I'm just like, I'm finally at the point where I'm like in my system, and I'm okay with it, and so I don't need anything else. But again, at the beginning of the season, I would have said like, I'm perfectly fine with a single panel. The Maverick is fine with me. I don't need a two panel. They're stupid. Too many moving parts, like all that stuff. Like I still kind of fight with that thing every time. But the way that it pulls back together, like it's manageable. It's intuitive. It makes sense. But like, I'm curious as to see, like, have you seen anything? Like, I'm disappointed that, like, I would hope to see the new Bowtech there available. Maybe it'll be like, I don't know. There's a good chance that, like, at the Lancaster booth or something like that, that they will have it if Bowtech isn't there.
That's what I was wondering. Like, maybe they'll have some guys with the new stuff, like, that represent them. I'm not sure. But so for bows, so like I have been a guy that I didn't buy a brand new bow until 2000. I can't remember what it was, 2019 or 18. I think I bought my first brand new bow. Otherwise, I was always a used bow guy, and I usually keep them for a couple of years and then get another one. Like I'm like a 3-season kind of a rotation is what I was doing. So like for me, I never geeked out on bows until it was the year I was gonna upgrade. So I, like, right now currently was thinking that this is gonna be the year I was gonna upgrade until I started seeing some of the prices, and I was like, like I might have to shoot my bow for 2 more years before I upgrade, just to kind of alleviate that cost a little bit. So I kind of like started being kind of interested in the bows, and then really quickly was like, yeah, not for me this year. And I know that part of that reason, like when you go that 3 seasons, the value of the bow you currently have really tanks. So I never wanted to be the guy that was like swapping bows every single year, because I like to get to know my bow a little bit and shoot it a lot. So my equity is really not there in the bow. So I'm like, well, whatever. I'll just shoot it for another year or two, and maybe my brother will want it, or something. So I was interested in like the new Hoyt, the new Matthews, even though it hurts me to say that. Like I've never liked a Matthews bow. It's kind of like a Ford Chevy kind of a thing. And then the PSC bows, I was kind of like, I kind of get like, maybe it's like you said, getting old a little bit, but like the USA stuff, kind of like, if I hear, oh, this bow's, this carbon's is made in the USA, I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued. I'll like give it my, maybe that's what I'm like intrigued with. Or like same thing for like T&K, Gators I bought last year. Like the only reason I was even looking at those was because they're USA made. Now I have 201s, I have T&K ones, and I know like Brad's got like their bino harness. Like, so I think sometimes like I'm intrigued with that standpoint of things to kind of perk my interest, but the bows, I'm just not even going to think about those for another year or two. Even though it's cool to like see your bow that you have, which we can touch on, like your old new bow for you, asking you like tunability stuff. And sadly, John wasn't there to like really explain some of that to me. But I am actually kind of intrigued with like the hybrid saddle hunting kind of craze that's been going on for a couple years. Is it Timber Ninja that came out with that different platform that's a little bigger but has like the angle bar comes down from the bottom? I think I saw maybe Bo or someone on social media stand that. I think that kind of was maybe potentially could open the door for some new things in the hybrid hunting system. So that was I'm like kind of intrigued by that. This climbing stick game, it's kind of like how do you reinvent the wheel maybe, but like if you would have asked me if I would ever use anything other than bee sticks when I first got them, like these are the best sticks I ever had. But now using a set of sticks that packs down a lot smaller, there's huge benefits to that. So gear wise, I'm kind of like, I would like to see some more like maybe budget friendly stuff that's not gonna be like we're gonna die if we use it. But I don't know if we're ever going to go back to that. Like, it just, like, the price of things just keeps going up. And I'm okay with buying once, crying once. And I feel like I'm kind of at that point now where I've invested a lot of money in my stuff that it's got to be pretty substantial for me to change.
You said a lot of things there. So, like, first of all, like, with the sticks, one thing is, like, I don't know if you saw, but, like, if you ever messed around with the tree sticks, like they were pretty cool, expensive, and a lot of people said that they were like the best as far as like innovation and cost. The cost was there as like all carbon and tubular or whatever, but that company's out. So they said that they're no longer doing sticks. It looked like, from what I saw, there was like a little blurb that said that they're looking at like changing the game in like tree stands, so that's interesting. That platform thing that you're talking about is Timber Ninja, and Austin had one of those at the Patreon hunt. I don't know if you got a chance to see it.
I was coaching football the day he probably brought it out.
So yeah, he had that, and some guys were playing around with it. I didn't take a look at it too much. That one for me, they'll have it at. I saw Timber Ninja's going to be at ATA, so I'd like to hear like Jason talk about it. I used to talk to him a lot, like like in an absurd amount.
So he actually, before I forget, you got to look at his new muff. His hand muff he came out with. I would like you to look at that. That was one cool thing, yeah.
Yep, that's something that I definitely want to check out. That was another thing. That looks like they knocked that out of the park. And what else was I going to say? So I want to...
What's your feeling of cost? Like, that was like kind of the last thing I was talking about. Like, do you think there's... I don't know. Like, do you think there's... Because, like, part of me is like, okay, it'd be nice to have... I don't know, the option. It seems like if you look at the cost difference of stuff, like, they're just going to... It's like carbon bows right now. Like everyone upgrade, $300 more than last year because they're all doing it. You almost need someone to come in and say, hey, this is a great bow for X amount of dollars. Is that like an option, or do you think it's just like the trajectory we're on is every year is going to keep going up and up and up because that's just how the market is? Or I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to kind of like look at that because I always like try to talk to value in my day job. Like, I'm providing you guys the service of building this, project or this house, and this is my cost, and I feel like I can, justify the means from X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, I'm spending, I bought last carbon bow was $1,850 or something like that, and now they're $2,300 or $2,250. It's like, why are they $400 more? I haven't really been able to like see that on paper, I guess, why that is.
Well, this is an age-old discussion on here for me because,
you're the gear guy.
Well, no, but like for me, as far as like the budget stuff goes, like if you look at the bow that I've been shooting, like funny story, Nate, what happened when I pulled my bow out of the case at the Bowman's Club on Sunday?
This is great. So my wife was shooting with us too because she's gonna shoot her bow some more. So I was like, hey, we're gonna go to the Bowman's Club. Adam's gonna be there. He's got to get his other bows. So, oh, cool. So she's shooting everything's like that. And we're getting yours kind of going, and you open it up, you're like, here's the shooter. My wife's kind of like, oh, what's that? And she like looks over there. Oh, that's a nice bow. And Adam pulls the bow out of this case, and she's like, is that water? And like water is just pouring off the bow because there was so much snow must be on the bow when you put it there last. It is drenched and just sitting in water. And she's like, is that water? And you're like, yes. That poor bow.
Yeah. So that bow, right? Like that bow can be had, and it's you can argue same as the Latitude sticks, like is it carbon, like whatever.
Yeah.
And like the what would you say, the integrity of the riser over time or whatever. But that bow you can be had for, I think it's like $800 or $900 all set up. With their ready to hunt package, which ready to kill package, ready aim kill is the Bowtech version of the Bears. Same thing. It's just a bunch of crap on it.
Mm-hmm.
But that bow's like 3.4 pounds, and it's not as fast as the bow that I was shooting currently, but it's plenty. It's much faster than that Bear.
Mm-hmm.
The Bear is 60 pounds, but. And then you can get essentially that same bow, and I think the newer ones have the flip disc. I don't believe it's the updated riser. The Zion has a quote-unquote updated riser that has just a little bit of cutout at the grip. Through Diamond, their Diamond Deploy SB, like I said, I still think it has the binary cams. And I think that one's $700 all set up. So, like, that bow does not have all the new tuning stuff, but it's really old tech, so any bow shop can fix it. You can use it in basically any bow press. You can use those old, it's a solid limb.
Yeah.
So you can use the old, basically like ratchet strap style press to fix it if you need to in a pinch. So then as you move forward, like, I don't know what your bow has for tuning, but they all have like the adjustable, either like adjustable axle, adjustable limb pockets, adjustable, all this stuff to be able to tune. I don't know what Hoyt's system is.
Yeah, they changed it this year. You can finally do something like that with it. That's what I was kind of looking at. So like,
and so does your bow have any of that tuning stuff?
No.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what you're kind of like paying for every time. But the thing is like, as far as like being old, right? Like, what does a 20-ounce soda cost or a freaking bag of chips?
I know.
Like, you go like, oh, I'm just gonna run into the gas station and get some $10. Like, oh, I'm gonna swing through McDonald's and get like a number 5, like $9.
Correct.
Like, it is so funny because like I I used to laugh at John about this because he'd be like, things are so expensive. And like, we'd go somewhere and he'd bring like a loaf of bread and like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Dude.
He does too.
And he'd always be like, 2x4s when I was building houses were 99 cents. And
Yeah.
like, dude, like,
It is
but
part
now
of it.
I feel the exact same way. And then, but then when you were saying like about like the cost of stuff, like you have like a $900 sight on your bow. Like,
I know. Well, I bought it used.
that's not necessary.
That was used. I bought it used. So it was a 900. It was 700. Whatever. But yeah. But I think that's kind of like where I'm thinking about that stuff. And like one of the reasons if I buy like say a 1-year-old bow, the price difference like that pays for my Kansas tag. And I think that's like kind of how I'm like looking at my year and my stuff a little differently than I ever have before. And I think it's because maybe finally like I finally have a bow I wanted, or I finally have that sight that I've been looking at, or I finally have some of these things where it's like, hey, this is like, I like this. Like I'm comfortable. It used to be, I got a new bow because I was like, man, I really just don't like how that bow feels. Like I want to, I'm kind of seeking out that mobile setup that's comfortable, or that, that certain bow hanger or something, you know what I mean? Like I kind of, that's what I was like learning all that stuff. And like the last couple of years, it's kind of like, okay, I like my system. Like I can change out pieces because I have the basic, up and down the tree figured out, or what I like in a bow. I'm much more comfortable with that stuff. So I think that's maybe why I'm like kind of taking a break. Like, okay, I don't need to like buy a new bow so I can shoot better at 45 yards or whatever it may have been before. Oh, that bow will hold so much better. I can shoot, I'll shoot a better group at 100 yards with it because it's, X, Y, and Z. I'm not even like really thinking like that currently anymore, which used to be like, oh my gosh, if I get these arrows, or if I get this, thumb button, or if I get this sight, it'll make my life so much easier. It's like, you know what? It's not like I don't need that, I guess, anymore in my equipment, I guess.
So when you said that you were like looking at bows until you were looking at prices, like what is it that you're looking at, like as far as like?
So I really like carbon. Like this Hoyt I have currently is the first carbon bow I've ever had, and it's nice. Like I really do like it. Not because it's lighter, not because of that, just the feel for it, like how it shoots, late season, like last year I shot, quite a few deer with the bow late in the year, and it was hold that bow for as long as you want. It's not cold. That's like a pretty big deal, bigger than I thought it really was until I did it. Even November mornings, like I was like, the previous bow is this bow behind me right there, the Prime Black 5. That doesn't have the updated grip that Prime has kind of now. So that bow was, I always had to have a glove on my hand when I grabbed that bow because it was so cold, and I hate wearing gloves, like thick gloves. Like I don't mind wearing like a really thin wool pair of gloves. So I like that, and I kind of like that. I don't know if it's the sound or the feel, the aftershock. I don't know exactly what that is, but I was looking just carbon again. Like I was looking at the Hoyt carbons, the not Bowtech, PSE, and then the what's the other popular carbon bow? Is it Bowtech that's got a popular one, or was it? Oh shoot, I can't remember anymore. There was 3 of them that I was kind of looking at.
I don't think Bowtech's is that popular.
No,
I mean,
there was.
They do have one, but I think it's the.
Yeah, PSC had. Oh, they have a fast bow and a normal bow. That might be what I was thinking.
And then they have the. I forget what they are.
Oh, the Prime.
Like 34.
Prime.
Oh,
that Prime was what I was thinking. Prime, Bowtech, or Prime, PSC, Hoyt were kind of the 3 that I was going to go shoot. And then I just started looking at the price. I'm like, I don't. Like, it'd be one thing if I have like a cracked limb on my bow or something, but I kind of was like, what am I going to gain from this? Like, maybe the tunability, but I'm okay with going to. I have a really good bow shop that I go to that, hey, set my bow up and it shoots well, and if I got to micro adjust it, I can micro adjust from there. So I don't know if it would really gain that much. Now, if I'm shooting all these different arrow types and wanting to like have like an out west setup and a tack setup, and I gotta adjust things, or I'm swapping out strings because I'm shooting so much, maybe then that would justify a price, the price of a new bow. But right now I don't really see that. for me.
But in there, like you mentioned, like a Matthews, and Matthews isn't a carbon bow, and that's about half the price, like literally like half the price.
Yeah,
I
think it's like $1,700 still.
14.
Oh, I thought it. Well, I think. Oh, okay. I thought it was $1,700 for one of those.
I'm pretty sure they're right around 14.
Okay. So, but yeah, maybe I got to just go to aluminum bow if I'm gonna do the next one.
I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking like I have like $2 worth of baseball bat wrap around my grip. So
yeah, I was curious to see how you like it.
New one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's one of those things where I got to just change that a little bit. So maybe the next bow will be an aluminum bow instead of a carbon bow. I don't know. What I do is, like, every time I shoot a bow, I go to whatever shop I go to, which is typically long range because they have a lot of options. And I've went there for a few years, and I just like I want to shoot them all. Like, I just get all the bows set to my draw length, and I just start sending arrows, and I slowly work my way back from there. And sometimes a couple guys that work there, I can shoot the same bow as them if they have a bow set up with like everything on it. And if they all kind of, sometimes each guy will shoot a different bow, and sometimes I can shoot one of those or all of them to feel what it feels like, and that's kind of how I go through. So I try not to go in with too much bias when I shoot bows, but yeah, I think I'm just going to wait a year, Adam. I'm just going to wait, maybe 2. We'll see.
No, I was just curious because, like, there's no way, like, I can look at those bows all day long. They could shoot, like, perfect. There's no way that I'm spending, like, $2,300. But it's just like you said, like, okay, like a Kansas tag or, like, whatever. Like, I'm fortunate enough that, like, I don't have to, like, that that doesn't even, like, enter my mind of, like, oh, the Kansas tag or, like, oh, this or that. Like, it doesn't at all. But, like, when you're like, okay, $2,400 for a bow or, $2,000, like, now we're getting into, like, elk tag or, like, out west trip. Like, that's,
substantial.
Like, well, and it's funny when you were talking about, like, your setup and, like, maybe you're like, oh, I'm just comfortable with, like, my getting up and down a tree or, like, be comfortable with this. And, like, I think it's funny, like, back, like, when we first started doing the podcast and we, like, would always be like, what's your bow setup? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, you talk to some guys who, like, knew, like, every grain of their arrow, every, type of string. And then you talk to some guys who, like, I don't know, like, whatever, arrows, broadheads, like, whatever. And it was usually guys that, like, were more focused on, like, finding the deer and all that stuff. And, like, I'm by no means, like, the killer type deer guy, but I've just, like that bow that I have, so I've gotten a new bow for the listener, but the bow that I have that's, like, Frankenstein together and all rusty and just beat to death. And when I put it in the case, it literally had a snowball frozen to the sight housing. And so when I brought it into the Bowman's Club, it thawed out. But, like, I know that bow can shoot and I know it can kill stuff. And so I'm just not concerned about, like, a different bow. And normally I would be like I like going against the grain, or I'd be like, like, it would be like a novelty to just keep shooting things with this old junker, I guess, or whatever.
The clunker.
But that's not the case. It's just like that was just like my bow. Like, it didn't matter. And it wasn't like, obviously it wasn't like just something that I just took out of the case once a year and dusted off and shot. Like, I'd be real curious to see how many arrows I shot out of that bow, because I think that's it's the third set of strings for sure, but it might be the fourth set of strings on that bow. So, just curious how many arrows have been through that. So, but I got that darting because, like, last year, talking with Greg Litzinger he was between that and the Lift X, and he's like the draw cycle, like the holding, like everything was great on it. And so he shot it, and then so like the draw cycle's really nice on it. And I think when I shot it at tack, maybe it had the comfort cams on it, because it does have a little bit of jump when I let it down, and it didn't have that at tack. But it isn't terrible. But it holds really nice, and like just shooting it, like I was shooting it just to try to paper tune it, and it was like shooting all in the same spot. And then when I was trying to sight it in, and I had to mess around with the sight, but I was shooting really good groups, like just messing around with it. So I'll be curious to see like how it shoots like going forward. I went back to a limb driven rest. So, and I say I went back to it, and I'm a little bit nervous, I guess, about that, just because I've deposited so many arrows across the country, going through so much crap, that having that much extra string hanging between the limb and the rest, and I know people do it all the time, and you know, John and Jake are like, oh, this shouldn't be a big deal, but I feel like it's just one more thing to go wrong. But it's easy to fix, where the same thing could happen with my, but I guess it's just tucked in there a little bit more. But I did, so like that bow, I got the Darton Sequel SD2, so last year's Darton flagship bow, and I got the 31, which the bow seems humongous compared to the bow that I've been shooting. Both the riser's a little bit longer, the axle's a little bit longer, but the cams are bigger, so the thing seems like it's freaking 20 feet long. The weight, I don't really notice the weight. Like, I'm sure that it weighs a lot more, but it's not terrible. But I went with the Epsilon rest, because the other Hamskis, I wanted to make sure it didn't have the spring on it, because I was like, well, that's certainly something that I can lose, break, or something, because of the way that I treat things. And then I put my HHA sight, I just swapped that over just for yesterday, but I did just order another one. Similar sights, pretty much the same thing, it's just 1 year newer, the Tetra Max tournament or whatever. But to me, that sight for the money is like pretty much bulletproof. Like this is my third or fourth HHA sight, and like I've not had any problems. I like the micro adjust. I like the being able to switch your wheels, because like I just grabbed my arrows for indoor, and they're the arrows that I use for tack, and that bow is pretty surprisingly fast, much faster than my Bowtech. We pulled it back with the thing, and it's got 80-pound let off, and it's like right at 69.5 pounds or something like that. So
yeah, that's a nice bow. I shot it just the one time, but it doesn't feel like a 31-inch Axlex bow, because I like longer. I've usually shot like a 35, 34 inch is kind of where I've been last couple bows. And it's balanced nice. Like, there's a lot of things in that bow that I do like. And it's a sharp looking bow too. Like, I do think some of that for me is I gotta like it a little bit. It's gotta like look nice for me to wanna get it or shoot it. But it's quick. It's not very loud. Like, even shooting indoors, you don't have much on it for accessories. And yeah, it's a nice shooting bow.
Yeah, and it doesn't have, it's lacking one of the new. So this year's Darton has 3 different adjustments as far as tunability, but it has a bunch of extra tunability. It's got an adjustment to adjust the pressure on each limb for cam lead, and then it also has like you could loosen up like a module type deal. I don't know what you would call it, like on the yoke, so you could twist the cables right there without having to press it, and then you can tighten it back up. And I want to have someone on the podcast here coming up. I'm going to try to reach out to a couple people to kind of talk about that because I like it, but also I feel like somewhat on everything can have like propensity to loosen up over time, especially if you're shooting a lot or whatever. So I'd be curious to see, you know, what other people think about that, like if it's a real problem or whatever. But this year's dart and bow is the Tri-Tech, and it has the same adjustments, but then it has an adjustable cable guard as well. So, and that's another thing is like Nate said, Ford, Chevy, blah 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 blah. Like I would never shoot a Matthews, just like on principle. Like, and maybe someday I would, but I guess I should never say never. But at the same time, it's just like I don't see myself ever do. It's like me driving a Cybertruck. It's probably very unlikely.
Yep. Yeah, I have a tendency to like some bows and not like other bows, and but I still try to shoot them. Like I shot the new Matthews, like because Jake's got it, and it's different than the last Matthews bow I tried shooting, but I don't think it's different enough for me to be like, yep, that's gonna take my money. Especially after shooting yours and shooting his, is like, okay, like there's a big difference between the two bows and just the way the bow felt. Well, and like it's hard too because like Jake's got his. It's the thing with bows, man. He's got it all set up how he likes it, with the front stabilizer, the back bar, where his stuff is. He like that's how he likes a bow, and like I don't like a bow really like that. So going to go shoot like your bow, it's got like nothing on it, just like the stubby stabilizer, which I liked. The way it felt in my hand, it was like, okay, like I can see why when Adam draws this thing back, like, yeah, I like that too. Like whatever that is, being like it doesn't really stack up until I don't even know if it really stacks up. It just kind of like rolls over into the back wall, and it's like, oh, this is nice. Like, but some guys like the bow being hot because they shoot a hinge or back tension or whatever it may be. I don't really know enough about that. So I mean, that's what's kind of unique about bows. Like they do the same thing, right? You pull back a string to, bend the limbs to launch a projectile. But there's so much different feels and looks that go with that. They're going to keep on trucking now, like a climbing stick or a platform or something. Like, is there as much of a feel difference there? That's to be determined. And I think it's kind of a new thing still that, that's the gear stuff, right? And I did want to like kind of circle back to you talking about some of the killers, right? Like the guy that comes to mind is Dan Infault, right? Like you asked this guy, he's been asked before. He's like, he was shooting a forge bow or something that I never even heard of, and he didn't care about the bow. He just wanted it to be like a 22 where you can pull up the 22 and it's dead on every time. And then like for me, I'm like, well, Dan, like I've been watching your stuff for years, like a decade plus, learned so much, and I can't tell you how many deer you've either not gotten or messed up on because of equipment failures. Like, so like it's kind of funny how you get like those two sides of it. And I want to be the guy that's like, I trust my equipment, I trust the guns I use, I know that I have proper this, proper that. So then like when I pull that bow back or when I pull that trigger, I have all the confidence in the world. And I guess for someone like Dan, that doesn't even faze him because he's like, I'm just going to stick this sharp stick through this deer and it's going to happen. And I would be so upset if I didn't get an animal because of an equipment thing that I screwed up on, that was something I could have control over. But I definitely don't want to be, paralyzed because of my equipment. So maybe that's kind of where I'm at. Kind of like, hey, I feel like I'm good, and if I insert a new bow, I got to like go down that whole rabbit hole again. And maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe that's part of my problem too. Like what you're going through, right? Like you're trying to like you're paper tuning it, you're setting a new sight, setting a new rest, doing this stuff. Like that's kind of fun when you do it, right? Like it's exciting. It's like, well, this bow right here does great, and I don't want to I just want to like just shoot it and like it'll be good.
Do you not feel confident in that, or like
as in like going through the process of shooting like a new bow, or
yeah, like so for example, like for me, like paralleling, like you screw up my bow, I miss that deer 3 times, okay, I don't have time to like fiddle around with that. Like my confidence is shaken, like whether it was your bad juju on my bow, or it was that something was off with the sight, or it was me, or it was, whatever. But the confidence of picking up that other bow and knowing like it's like a part of me to go and shoot that is like not a problem. Like just time frame, like in the season, like right now I'm going to go do that. Fast forward to right now where I'm going into shooting spots indoors in league, and I have at least 4 months essentially before I'm going to shoot at any animal with that bow. So I'm not uber concerned about it. I have plenty of time to get plenty of reps in, to work any kinks out, and then be able to take it up to, and that animal, like not to take anything away from the life of an animal, blah blah blah. But if I'm going to shoot something in that quick time frame, it's going to be a turkey, and like I said, like nobody's ever like been, not in my lifetime, has been like that was the turkey of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Like I missed.
Yeah.
Lost sleep over it. So then go to tack, shoot arrows at 100, and be able to see arrow flight, be able to figure out what's going on, and then go into the season. Like I have all the time in the world to do that. So it isn't like none of it's critical at this point, so whether it's fun or not, like there's so much time, and to be confident that, I mean, it was interesting, like paper tuning that bow with you, because you're like looking at the tears and like telling me what to do, and I was like, Nate, I've done this a lot, and you're like, I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I was just
thinking out loud.
Yeah, I was just talking out loud because usually I do that by myself. So I was like, I knew you got like John back and all these bows you've done. So I was like, okay, so like,
I'm like,
what do you
I'm not
do?
John, but I've been there.
So it was nice to do that though, because you were like shaking your head like, yep, that's what I got to do. And then, but no, I think, confidence in my bow, like, yeah, like I shoot a lot. Like I have shot a lot. Last little bit, I haven't shot so much. Like the bow I have now is great. Like I got left in Omaha I shot my bow August 28th, went to Wyoming, mule deer hunted, for the week, or, got home 10 days later. And then my truck had a blown up engine and my bow was still sitting in my truck, thinking I was going to have it in 2 days. Or the following weekend, went from not getting my bow until I don't know what day of the week. I think opening day was on a Tuesday. I think I got my truck back that Sunday, and then went out and shot a buck the 4th. I shot one arrow from August 28th to October 4th, and that was on that deer. And then I shot a second arrow at a doe, and a third arrow at a doe, and then that's all. And I've shot it a handful of times since then. So like this last 4 months has been the least I've ever shot that bow. But I'm super confident in it, and I think that's kind of like, I kind of like that feeling, where before it was like I would be down here like 3 nights a week, maybe 5 nights a week, shooting my bow in the basement just because it felt foreign to me when I got a new bow. And like I feel like I just had to put so many shots through it to just be comfortable. So it was like that second nature. And I like shoot my bow too. So maybe I'm kind of like a little bit of that, like, hey, I'm good, man. Like I know that I can pull this bow up and shoot it, accurately. Granted, I could shoot better by, shooting more, but I can, if I don't have the time because a lot of things are going on here at the beginning part of this year and going into the summer, I'm going to be really busy. I don't have to worry about this bow that's like foreign to me. Like I know this bow. It's year number 4 with it. It's going to shoot great. And I think that's the first time in my life I'm like thinking that way. So like that's kind of why it's a little different for me. Because I've always been like, I want to get the new latest and greatest this, or oh my gosh, I can't wait to get a carbon bow. And that's what happened with that one. But yeah, I think when I do get bows, I do it exactly how you did it. Like I get it this time of year. I can shoot it in the in the winter. I can shoot it in the spring. I don't turkey hunt with it with a bow. I usually shoot in the face with a shotgun, but I have all that time to build up and shoot. And so by the time the fall's around, it's like muscle memory shooting it.
And one thing too is, so Eric just bought a new bow. So this year Darton has the Consequence 31, which has the same cams as my bow. It's a little bit different riser, and it just doesn't have all the fancy tuning stuff. But that bow's like, it's ridiculous to say like, oh, it's a cheap bow. But it's like I think he got it for like $750, something like that. So same draw cycle, same everything. But just, and because it's a different riser, it has a 7-inch brace height instead of 6 and 6 3/4. So it's a little bit more forgiving. And he's really
so maybe
digging
my
it.
point of being too much money for a bow was a little narrow-minded there. Just, on thinking just new flagship bows instead of all the other options that I wasn't really thinking of,
Well, and that's why I was asking, like, what is it that you're looking for in a bow? And it just seems like you're just like, I need carbon because I don't want to wear a glove.
It's my Cybertruck. That's why.
I don't know, man. I'd rather spend more time hunting or, than, like, because my whole thing has always been like, I literally don't care what other people think about my bow or like my equipment or like whatever. And the whole so when I got that bow for free, and we could have picked any bow from Bowtech, and I picked the cheapest one that they had just on principle. And it fared well for me. I mean,
you can't be a hunting personality and not care what people think, Adam. Come on,
I know.
I'm just playing with you. That's the whole thing. You can dab up, or what do you call it? Drip is how you look, right? Or whatever to talk about.
Whatever. Like you saw my bow is dripping with rust.
Dripping with rust.
Snow.
Who needs camo when you have that rust color on your bow, right? Hey, you do have your vehicle has a lot less skin cancer now than I've ever seen before, so
it's
maybe
terrible.
you are
actually though.
Changing
since so from all my trips this year, the stupid bumper, the front bumper has like tons of rust on it, like from the chrome. Like I hate chrome.
Yes.
I have to like get that taken care of.
That's why the last 2 trucks I got were color matched, so they don't rust as bad. They still chip, but don't get that.
That's terrible. One thing I wanted to talk about, just because you always make promises and you never follow through, but I wanted to let the listeners know, if they're here in Michigan, about we still have hunting opportunities. So if you're like basically like lower Michigan, kind of like Newaygo County south, you still have till the 11th. Check the digest, and there's still some like other than this, but generally like around where we're at, till the 11th for antlerless. And you can use your old tags from unused tags from last year. You can buy new ones, for $5. And then Nate informed me that it's like till the 31st in Kent County, and he's like, yeah, you can go shoot a buck. I'll take you out. But he never does. He never calls.
Never call. Yeah, what they call it, like the urban archery, I think, season they call it. And last year was the first year Kent County, I believe, was in it. And I hunted quite a bit in January. It was fun. I shot some does, and I was looking for a certain deer, and he never showed up. But yeah, you can. I know a lot of the other counties are on the like southeast side of the state, but they threw Kent County in there because it must just be because of all the car deer accidents that we have in Kent County. It's a pretty big county too. So yeah, you can go fill a buck tag. You still got a buck tag from 25 all the way to the 31st in some of these areas, and I believe it's private and public land. Like, it's not just private. So obviously you guys can fact check me. I mean, I'm mostly a private land hunter in Michigan, so I just look at it mostly 99.9% of the time. Hey, I hunted on public this year just with a camera, and I took a shot. I almost shot my first buck on public with you, so that'd have been something.
I had to guide you.
You had to guide me, yes. If I actually was trying to kill some, I could have smoked that doe, but, you know, I was too worried about filming her. But, no, I think going back on that, one thing that I have been driving around, Adam, and I did make a little detour tonight, kind of similar to what I do during archery season or any time of year, checking out tracks, and I found quite a few tracks going back into a piece that I'm pretty excited on. So tomorrow morning I'm going to do a little cruise by in the daylight and do a little walkabout and see if they're actually using this piece. And there was so many acorns in there this year that I think that there could be some deer kind of push back into the spot. So if that's the case and I see what I want to see with the eyeballs, we might be able to make a play on some late season does, or if you want to bust out the bloody and arrow with a new bow, maybe find you a Michigan 11 pointer you can shoot with that. So
all right, we can do that. So we'll wrap this up here, but what do you have new coming up here, Nate?
Yeah. We kind of teased it a little bit in the beginning, but I have a podcast that's, I don't know when it's launching. I've been hosting Michigan Wild for 2.5 years, and that is a podcast that is part of the Sportsman's Empire Network. Dan Johnson from Nine Finger Chronicles is the lead man over there. And I was hosting one of his podcasts for, like I said, 2.5 years, and I gave him my last podcast a few weeks back, right around Christmas time. I don't know what time he's going to launch it, but it's on there. I'm no longer going to host Michigan Wild, so the podcast is cool. I hope it launches soon. It's me and Rob recorded the podcast right after he killed a deer in Illinois in December. Then I have a little intro on there that kind of talks about this transition happening. But the reason for that being is that this whole Rome thing, I don't know how long ago we first talked about it. It's got to be about, a year and a half, 2 years ago now almost. We kind of want to take a different direction with that, or I do. And I kind of wanted to have a podcast or a group of us kind of work together towards something with a podcast, and opportunity kind of came up, and I'm jumping ship from Michigan Wild, and I'm going to start something through Rome for a podcast here, and we're hoping to start launching some stuff the 1st of February is kind of the tentative goal right now, and it's going to be a little different than what I was doing with Michigan Wild, but still very much the same with just real conversations and mixed in with some, it's not going to be pigeonholed into one thing. It's going to be very, I want to use the word like versatile, like a lot of different things like Michigan Wild was. Like I had, there was hound guys on there. There was bear hunts on there. There was fishing stuff. There was guiding stuff. There was habitat stuff. We're going to kind of do that same approach with Rome. And then also will free me up to co-host here on Bowhunter Chronicles, Adam some. I think there's going to be certain guests, like me and him constantly were always like wanting to have the same guests on anyways, or he'd beat me to it, or I would launch a podcast and it'd be like, son of a gun, Adam did that same guest like 2 weeks ago, or we would meet someone somewhere and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to podcast with that guy sometime, and then Adam would have him on. So I was like, we're kind of going to team up a little bit with that, so it'll be good.
Yeah. And we're close enough that we can do some of these in person, and it'll be good. And with the Rome stuff, we've got 6 of us to kind of collaborate with on that, beyond just Nate having to run the whole thing himself, as far as having somebody to talk to.
Yes. I think, and the cool thing about the Rome side is going to be more reoccurring guests, like kind of get to know us a little better through that, and kind of be more of that vibe of, you know, I don't have to find 52 different people every week to do that. There will be new guys obviously on there. I love talking to local guys or someone that's in the same situation we are, or someone who's not. But I think it's going to be fun to kind of really get to know, you, Adam, maybe, as there's been a lot of times where I've heard you podcast and I like want to ask you a question about something. And I know the same goes for Joe or Brad or any of these other guys. So it's going to be, I think it'll be really fun to kind of expound on that and tie that into with, some of our hunts that we're doing. I mean, I think it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see what direction it takes or what it morphs into, but it's going to be a good time. 2026 is going to be fun, man.
Alrighty. Well, with that, we will sign you off here, and I guess I don't have to direct them anywhere because you got nothing at this point.
You got nothing. Social media.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
See ya.